Hi there, Craig Beck from Stop Drinking Expert here. Welcome in. Part 8 of the Complete Quit Drinking program. And today we're going to address how we rewire the brain. As we've talked about in previous sessions, your subconscious has been watching your behavior your whole life. And certain things that you do repeatedly, it decides it doesn't need any sort of conscious thought, it doesn't need any thinking about, so it creates a program. It creates an automatically activating program. And it does this by actually building a physical pathway inside your brain. So what this means is you have a piece of meat inside your head that your brain has built using your DNA to facilitate your drinking behavior. Now that's exceptionally powerful. It's essentially a part of who you are. So in the past, when you've tried to control your drinking with willpower, this is why it was virtually impossible, because you're trying to use a non-physical element, willpower, to beat a physical element. It's like if you and me had an arm wrestling match and I said, I'm going to put my hand there, but I'm not going to apply any physical pressure. I'm just going to try and will you into defeat. You're going to use your arm to wrestle me, but I'm just going to sit there and I'm just going to think about beating you. Who do you think would win? You, of course, because you can't beat non-physical with physical. Is that the way around? I think so. Anyway, so we have to rewire the brain. We have to weaken this piece of meat that's in your head that facilitates your drinking. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this session. So, as we talked about in the obstacles and opportunities, you have various scenarios, various situations where your brain automatically points to alcohol as the solution. For example, stress is obviously the big one that we quote often when we talk about drinking. You get stressed and the brain monitors the situation and goes, I have a program just for that. And it gives you alcohol as the solution because it's seen it as the solution thousands of times before. By the way, this is an old computer floppy disk. It's getting a bit scary now, the amount of people who don't know what it is. So you've got this program that automatically activates in your brain. And you have them around lots of different things. For example, when it gets cold, you shiver. This is an anchored response to being cold. And you have certain responses to the way people behave with you. If someone comes up to you smiling, you have a physical and emotional anchored response to that. If someone comes up to you in an aggressive stance looking for a fight, you also have anchored responses to that. And that's why we call them anchored, because they're linked together. And in the case of alcohol, you have various situations that are now anchored to drinking. Very powerful. So what do we do about this? Well, the answer is we can't get into the subconscious mind and just pull out these anchors. So the only way we can weaken them is to prevent them activating. So if we can put something in the way of the environment and the response, then slowly, over time, the program gets weaker. Because it is the running of the program that strengthens it, that gives it more physical tissue in your head. Let me give you an example. If we did this weird experiment where I strapped your left hand behind your back for a whole year, and you're only allowed to use your right hand. If we did a brain scan before and after this weird experiment, what we would see at the end is that the part of your brain responsible for the movement and coordination of the left-hand side of your body, specifically your left hand, would have dramatically reduced in size. However, the part of your body responsible for right-handed motion and your right hand would have grown and strengthened in size. So we know that this works because we can prove it. If you stop using a program in your head, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. So what we have to ask at this point is, how do you know that it's time to drink? Might sound like a strange question, but think about that for a moment. How do you know it's time to have a drink? For me, it was when I came home from work. I could do a full day's work without drinking. I wasn't at the point where I was sneaking off to the toilets at work to knock back some vodka. It never crossed my mind. I could work without distraction. But as soon as I walked through that door to come home and I put my keys down and I took my coat off, the only thing I was thinking about was opening a bottle of wine. My kids could run up to me and say anything. My ex-wife at the time could have run up to me and said anything. I would have heard it, but I would have been in full zombie mode. The only thing I was focused on was the corkscrew. And then what I would do is I'd take my bottle of wine, get my glass, and I would sit in my lazy boy chair and I'd watch TV. Drinking, drinking, drinking. This was my routine. So, what is the worst thing, if I'm stopping drinking now, what is the worst thing I can do? Sit in that chair. The worst thing I can do is to activate the physical anchor, to be in the position that I have always connected to drinking, because I'm just going to activate all this pressure on myself. So what I want you to do, if you get the urge to drink, I want you to just stop for a moment. Don't respond to the evil clown that's saying, go on, you deserve one. I want you to just stop. And I want you to try and observe the situation from a third person's point of view, almost as though you're floating above yourself, looking down. And I want you to see what is happening. Where are you? What time of day is it? What do you normally do in that situation? And if the answer is drink, then you know why you have a craving. And the knowledge shall set you free. So we're going to do some things. If you get that sensation, first thing I want you to do is go and get a pint of water. Get a big glass of water and drink it straight down. Because you may just be thirsty and you're mixing up the signals from your body. Your body is saying, I'm dehydrated, give me some fluid, and you're interpreting it as, give me wine, give me beer, give me spirits. So the first thing you do is you have a big glass of water. Now, I want you to do anything else apart from what you would normally do. So if you would normally sit down in your chair and watch TV, then you are not allowed to do that. Do not do that. Get up, dance, go to Zumba, go for a walk, go see your friends, go see your folks, go swimming, get out the house, walk the dog. I don't care what it is. Go out into the backyard and jump on the kids' trampoline. Just do something so dramatically different to what you would normally do, it seems ridiculous. And yes, for a few weeks you're going to feel pretty strange, and everyone around you is going to think, oh my God, Dad's gone nuts, or Mom's gone insane. If you want to explain to them what's going on, fine, but look, you have a bigger mission than caring about what people think about you at this moment. You have to break the cycle, because every time you break that anchoring, you weaken the program. This is called a pattern interrupt. And it's a bit like if you got an old LP, an old vinyl record, and you took a nail and you scratched it across the surface like that, that record would not play again in the same way. And if every time instead of playing it, you just get a nail and you go and you scratch it, eventually you get to the point where that record won't play at all. And that's what we're trying to do with these pattern interrupts. So let me recap that for you. You get a craving, pint of water. Then I want you to break the routine. Do something dramatically different than what you would normally do. So for me, it will be avoiding that armchair at all costs. Go outside, put some running pants on and run round the block. Go and see your mom and dad. Your mom will be thrilled. Go swimming. Take the kids to the swimming baths, Just do something different. Okay, so now, your next port of call here